So I wanted to film a director's commentary so I could show you my thought process behind the editing of my A2 Media Studies music video for Hit the Ground Running by Newton Faulkner. And I wanted to just explain some of the shots and the transitions and how I've pieced it together to create my final product. So for this opening, it was originally a 12-second clip of just my artist playing the guitar. However, I felt that it was quite boring and that it needed something else, which is why I added the shot of, I added the title for the name and the title of the song. And I think that it really helps the audience understand what's going on and also distracts the viewer from realising they're watching a 12-second clip. I then introduced the setting for the football scene with that shot of him from ear to ear before going into the montage style, and I think that that really helps the audience understand the setting of the activity, and I've tried to do that for all three of the different activities and just show what's going on, as in like where they are and the activity before it gets into the montage. I also put a montage throughout the music video as I think that a montage really shows how time progresses and time moves on. So by doing that for each of the three activities, it shows how much is progressing and how much is practicing. Also coming up is a shot here of the football being kicked into the back of the net, and actually on the day of filming I wanted the football to hit the actual camera that I was holding, but I realised that actually that would have damaged my equipment and potentially broken my camera, so instead I decided to ask my actor to kick just to the left of my camera, and that this would have obviously not damaged my equipment while also getting the effect of the camera coming towards the audience and shocking them, or giving some sort of effect of the football being hitting the camera without it actually hitting my camera. Oh, and just then there was also a black screen before it goes into the performance section, and this is something that I used quite often just because I wanted the transitions to reflect the beat of the music, because in the actual song there are short gaps in between the different verses and choruses, and that really wanted to be reflected by the black screen. So also for the painting, as you saw there, the paper's being put down onto the table, and it's also a similar sort of pace to the sound, so it goes ooh as the paper goes down, and I think that that looks really effective before going into the transition of the time-lapse. And again, that's another example of me showing the setting before the actual video continues. And for the time-lapse, I know that it looks effective now, but it took quite a lot of work, as I had to keep opening that specific clip into another file for the editing software and shortening that, and then saving that clip and opening it again and then shortening it again, because with the software that I was using, if I kept the clip as long as I did and shortened it to 26 times its original speed, then it went really like juttery and jumpy, and it wasn't a smooth time-lapse like I originally wanted. So that's why I decided to cut it down and do the longer process but get the desired effect at the end of it. In hindsight, I probably should have used my iPhone because it has a time-lapse facility, and it would have been a lot smoother and a lot less hassle. But then again, I also didn't want to use a different camera with different quality because I felt like that would really stand out. And also I didn't have a tripod for my phone camera, so it would have been handheld and been a bit shaky compared to this, which is on a tripod and didn't really move. And again here, the lyrics say, "I come back twice as strong," and I think that reflects as he's cleaning the brushes and preparing to try again, and as you can see, the outcome is twice as strong as the original. So, and this is another performance scene as the chorus. For this, I really wanted to mimic the style of Newton Faulkner in his other videos, because he often is just him sat in a room with his guitar and playing the song, and although that's a really basic music video and I wanted to do something slightly more narrative than that just plain performance, I also really wanted to kind of reference it throughout my video, so that's why for each of the choruses I chose a performance scene, just so that I could interact that with the rest of the music video. And I also decided to include some shots which were kind of referencing the original video for Hit the Ground Running, so there are some shots that are identical between the two of them, just to kind of show Newton's style as well as my style of the video. So for that bit in particular, there's a distinct jump in the song, so it goes from kind of bluesy melody into a clap or like a beat, and then it changes to a much more kind of upbeat and like I don't really know the musical term for it, but it's a lot more like pop, I would say. It's a different change in the tempo and style. And in a peer review, my actual media teacher said that she didn't like that and it was jarring to her or didn't understand it, and every time it was like, oh, the music changed. So rather than trying to erase that, obviously I can't change the song, so I actually decided to use Levi Strauss's binary opposition theory and kind of emphasize the change even more and go from, as you can see before, the black screen into a much brighter outfit, even though it's the same character stood in the middle, almost identical. So by doing that and showing the difference in the two settings, it's the opposing scenes, I think that it actually enhances the tempo of the bridge and how it changes. And also this was kind of something that I wanted to include, as the scene is a running scene, and I thought that it was quite important to add some sort of element of running, seen as it features in the title of the song. So we have my artist running here. And for that bit there with the tempo, with the reverse of the feet moving forward, that was actually something that I did to fill a gap in the song, because originally I just had it going in one direction and then it moved to this scene, as you can see, of him singing the second line and running towards me. But there was a bit of a gap between those two clips, and instead of adding another clip and making it a bit too busy or repeating myself, what I decided to do was actually initially put that clip that we just watched in reverse, so it kind of goes that way and then back that way, and it matches the beat of the music, which is what some of my peers had reviewed when they watched it. They said, oh, I like how the beat of the music is reflected in his shoes as he's stepping backwards and forwards, and I thought that looked really effective as well. But actually it was just a way for me to make the clip longer. And also in this scene, the lyrics read, always greener on the other side, and the camera pans to a greener part of the park. And that little riff there, I included that small riff to show the performance, otherwise there would have been a really long gap between where the bridge started and where the end of the baking scene was. That would have been completely without any sort of performance in it, and it had been so regular in the rest of the music video, I decided that I wanted to just include that small riff to remind the audience of the performance scene. And also it worked really well with the close-up of the guitar and what was actually being heard in the song. And again we go into a montage of baking, so this is the bad cake. And it was actually quite difficult to show how bad the original cake was, because annoyingly it actually turned out to look okay, even though all of the ingredients were wrong and it didn't get cooked for the right time and all of these different things. So yeah, that was annoying. But with the better cake, we have this small section where he sits down with a piece and watches himself on the laptop, and that's another transition that I wanted to include. It was quite annoying that I couldn't edit down the baking scene shorter than it currently was, because there just was not anything else that I could have taken from it. So it does slightly overlap into the performance, and that's why there isn't a black screen change there, because there is no beat to change it to. But I think that the link between the two scenes is pretty good, and also to reflect from the rest of the music video, it's filmed in the dining room, which is where the painting scene had happened, and actually in the mise-en-scène in the background of the image you can see on the on the table all of the painting supplies that were used earlier, and I think that that's quite a good link between both of the songs. So for that bit you can hear the lyrics say "I keep falling down," and that's where I've introduced a really tiny montage of the 3 different activities at their failures, and I now show the 3 activities at their successes to show to summarise the whole video and reflect upon everything that happened. And then we're in the last scene, which is another performance, and as he finishes it walks off and there's a smooth little fade to black. So that's the end of my music video. Overall, I'm really happy with the result of it. I think that it looks really effective, and although there's a couple of things that I would have changed in hindsight, there are only small things that I can see, and I think that that might be because I've spent so long on this project. It kind of gets to the little things that nobody else ever notices, and in my peer review I feel like the overall message of the song is really effective, and people say that they liked the editing style. So yeah, I'm overall quite happy, and I hope that you enjoyed it too. Thank you for watching.